It may have come late, but finally a batting performance worthy of the West Indies' reputation in this format. Courtesy of Nicholas Pooran's unbeaten half-century, they've managed to get formidable, more than respectable 181 for 3 after Carlos Brathwaite won the toss at the Chidambaram Stadium. Pooran with 53 not out of just 25 balls, playing in his second game of this series. Darren Bravo with a few runs. Everyone got among the runs. Bravo would have liked them a little faster as it turned out, but they did make India's bowlers struggle just a little bit. For the first time this series, Rohit Sharma had to answer a few questions. Right, 182 is what they need to get. Makes for an interesting halftime chat on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday with Ajit Agarkar and Phil Simmons. Let me go to Phil first, because finally it's a batting performance that Phil can throw some light on with some positives as far as the West Indies are concerned.
Yeah, finally there's a score for the bowlers to work with. And I think again we see an opening partnership. And once we had an opening partnership, then all the batsmen come in on top of that. And Ramdin batted well. And then we see Pooran and Bravo held the innings together. So the opening partnership is what we've been missing.
Yeah, I mean, it's 23 boundaries in that. So even though this is a good score from the West Indies, I think a question arises on whether they got their batting order right. 50, like Phil points out, in the first 6 overs. And you had Pollard and Brathwaite sitting in the bench, while there's that middle phase with Dinesh Ramdin and Darren Bravo, where maybe they should have got a few more.
Yeah, I think so. A bit surprised actually when you have guys with the ability that Pooran just showed, Brathwaite, Pollard sitting in the dugout. Not quite sure why Ramdin was sent. I mean, they obviously have a lot of faith in him because they batted him at some prime positions through this series, whether it's opening the innings in that first game or at number 4 for tonight. Fortunately for them, Nicholas Pooran played the innings that he did. Otherwise, they would have ended up well short of that 181, which they eventually got. So, but incredible batting.
Yeah.
At one point, didn't know whether he was a left-hander or right-hander. Played both equally well. So, cracking innings.
All right, let's focus on that first, because we'll talk about whether they got that batting order a little later. But Nicholas Pooran, Phil, we finally seen something. We thought one of these talented West Indians who've done well in the CPL will make a mark when they come here. It's exactly the kind of innings or kind of reason you play these guys for, even if the series is gone. One innings and they could suddenly make a career out of it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And he's one of the young players who, since he played on the 19 World Cup, has been talked about as moving into the senior team. And today he's showing exactly what he's made of. And as you say, sometimes he's right-handed, sometimes he's left-handed.
Is there a case of sometimes overdoing that though, Phil? You saw he was phenomenal. That one shot, tremendous, but then at times the bowler seems to be able to predict your hand.
Well, he's exceptional at it, because he, even with right-handed, if he stands up and he bats right-hand, he can't hit the ball as well as left-handed. So he's exceptional at it. You can sometimes use it too much, but I think in this game, 53 of 25 balls, I think he did it right this time.
Yeah, I think he got it spot on in this game at least. I don't think there's anything more he could have done. You're a harsh man, Ronak.
No, but you know I'm a high standard.
No, I think the start as well. The start helped as well. Shai Hope and Hetmeyer, giving them some sort of a start just suddenly makes life a lot easier for those middle order players. There is grip in that surface. That's the other good part of this innings. That initial bit, there were lots of slow balls by the seam bowlers. There was enough grip for the spinners as well. He's sussed the conditions and then played the shots that he has. There is a little bit of bounce in that Chennai pitch always, which usually helps 6 hitting. We saw that again.
And I mean, let's take nothing away from Nicholas Pooran, and I will say that this is the kind of innings that IPL franchises can take note of. Like you said, there's a bit of grip in it. He hit Chahal for one of those reverse hit sixes, so picked his bowlers, picked his balls. He seems a natural for this format.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of those 3 spinners turning into him as well.
Yes.
So that sometimes helps. But yeah, it's a cracking innings. I think you could see how much Bravo at the other end was struggling to get his timing with that slowness of the pitch, and he's just 25 ball 50 is could be the difference in this game if West Indies can bowl well.
I mean, you look at just the strike rates, and after the strike rate of Nicholas Pooran of 212, you've got to go to Shimron Hetmyer striking at 123, and everyone else below that. So, say, just the kind of punch that the West Indies innings needed after that slight sluggish middle phase between Bravo and Dinesh Ramdin. So, let's go back to that then, Phil. If India chase this easily or relatively easily, they might look at that phase and say maybe we could have sent in Pooran or even Pollard or Brathwaite a bit higher and kept Dinesh Ramdin, given that they had the good start. Phil, able to hear us, Phil? Just okay, we'll try and re-establish our connection with Phil Simmons. But let's go to that.
Because
they had the good start.
they've lost that. They've lost Hetmyer in the ninth over, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, ninth over.
In the ninth over. So when you have, I mean, that's some serious ability that we just saw on display today from Pooran. I mean, Bravo as well. So why would you hold them back? I mean, Dinesh Ramdin seems to be, like I said, one of the favourites of whether the captain or the coach. I think there are, in my opinion, there are better players, at least in that situation, than him, who have a lot more power, as we saw. And like we kept saying before, fortunately it's come off. On another night, you end up well short of that 181.
I mean, you could argue that there have been some tactical errors from that fifth ODI in the West Indies. Even the first T20, sending Pollard too early at the Eden Gardens with the ball moving, and this time keeping him too late. Is it a hard decision sometimes in 2020 cricket?
Shouldn't be. Shouldn't. Even Brathwaite for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, he struggles against leg spin, or Kuldeep, he struggled a little bit. But I mean, Pooran was there. He should have comfortably come ahead of Dinesh Ramdin.
Okay.
It's given us a good score.
Yeah, while we establish our link with Phil, let's focus on India's bowlers. And on the day when they didn't have Kuldeep Yadav, they didn't have Bumrah, two of their strike bowlers in this format, and some of their bowlers did go the distance. It's nice to see Khalil Ahmed, even though the figures show none for 37 or 4, actually get better with each game.
Yeah, swung the ball early on with that new ball. Little bit surprised that Bhuvi wasn't brought on after. First over the second over that Washington Sundar bowled was okay. Thought with the ball having a little bit of shape early on, maybe could have bowled Bhuvi. But Khalil Ahmed impressed. I think that last over went for a few, which can happen in this format. A batsman in really good nick, and you don't quite get it spot on in that last over. But before that, we saw can bowl the Yorker, which is one thing we perhaps didn't see much of in one-day cricket. There was a lot of length stuff that he bowled with the new or the semi-new ball. So another good outing for him. It'll help his confidence as well, in spite of going for a few in that last over. Chahal again coming back and picking wickets. That's been the difference for India in one-day cricket, with Bumrah, Chahal and Kuldeep, all of them capable of picking wickets at different stages in the inning.
Would you have expected a little more of any one of the other bowlers, or Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, in the absence of Bumrah, going at nearly 10s, or was it a hard place to bowl?
No, I think it was okay. I think it's one of those games. I think came across a batsman who probably, maybe when he saw the ball gripping, went with the slow ball a little bit longer, which can happen because there was a lot of play and miss in one of the overs. But later on, the batsman obviously had predicted what he was doing. Krunal Pandya, a little bit of a disappointment, in the sense that if you're looking at him as an all-rounder, can he consistently give you 4 overs? Not one game in T20 shouldn't decide that, but at the moment looks more of a batting option than a fifth bowler option. You'll have to look, it's small sample size, so we'll have to wait and see, but there seemed some limitations in his bowling.
Is the selection looking good at half-time of not playing an extra seamer, because you knew you had no Bumrah, no Kuldeep, so expecting 4 out of Washington, Krunal Pandya,
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of having just 5 bowlers in one-day cricket or T20 cricket. It just limits your options. If 1 or 2 guys like tonight have a tough day, that's why they need to find somebody in that top 6 who can give you even a couple of overs. Whether Rohit Sharma rolls his arm over again. Not sure why he doesn't, possibly the injuries that he doesn't bowl enough now, but there's got to be someone in the top 6. That's why playing those 2 wicket keepers sometimes hampers your balance, and of course Hardik Pandya is missing, which makes a big difference.
Is this a formidable score or just an above par score, which you think if India bat well they should get?
It's a good score. Anytime you get 180 in a T20 game, the opposition will have to bat really well to get that. I mean, okay, we saw Rohit can do it on his own, but there is definitely some grip in that surface. India will have to bat well to get there. I don't think this is a below par score. I think it's a good score. India will have to bat well.
Will O'Shane Thomas have the same sort of impact, or do you bowl a little differently on this kind of pitch?
No, I think so. I every time I've seen Chennai, there is, if you hit the length, there is a little bit of carry. I know it's strange because the ball is gripping the surface as well, but you can get a bit of bounce. I don't think when you can bowl at 150 kilometers, you want to bowl too many slow balls, at least to start with.
You might see a bit of Carlos Brathwaite and Kieran Pollard try all of that, but they don't have a wrist spinner either. They would like to wrist spinner the way Chahal had that kind of impact. They don't have one in the squad.
But the two left-armers could be a threat on this pitch when there is so much grip and how quickly they bowl. And they're quite consistent, both of them. So, Shikhar Dhawan again becomes important with the ball turning in. Hopefully he gets a start and is there when the spinners do come on, because I don't think it's as easier or chase that, generally 180 you'd think against that West Indies attack, you'd back India. I don't think it's going to be that easy.
I'm just trying to see if I've got Phil Simmons back for a quick comment before the second innings resumes. Phil, if you can hear me, quick prediction, this 180, an above par score or a formidable score, and where do you stand at halftime? India to chase this or the West Indies to clinch a win?
I think it's a formidable score. I think it's a case where the first 6 overs is going to be important, and how the spinners, the two left-arm spinners, are going to be very important in this. So it's a formidable total, but we have to both win.
Okay, like Ajit says, he might expect the two left-armers, like you said, to make an impact. Would you start with one of them, or would you stick with O'Shane Thomas and maybe Brathwaite at the other?
I would. Pierre usually bowls in the first 6, so he might start, but O'Shane has to start. Pierre usually bowls in the first 6. You might see him there.
Very well. 20 overs of cricket left in this bilateral series. Many thanks to Ajit Agarkar and Phil Simmons. We will get their thoughts as this series finally comes to a close with the second innings at Chennai, where India need a formidable 182 to win. You've got that. You've also got the Women's World T20 game kicking off. So make sure you catch all that coverage on ESPN, Cricinfo.com, as well as our mobile app. Download that if you haven't already. Final 20 overs of this series. Let's hope it gives us a cracking game.